The Gathering Storm. A new era in the galaxy. In a galaxy teeming with diverse civilizations, humanity had emerged as a new player on the cosmic stage. They were a species marked by their ingenuity, adaptability, and an insatiable curiosity about the universe. However, despite their potential, many older species viewed humans as primitive and unworthy of respect. This perception was about to be challenged in ways none could foresee. The galaxy was governed by four fundamental pillars of warfare: economy, technology, logistics, and strategy. Each species had its strengths and weaknesses within these pillars, shaping their approach to conflict. The Zax, an ancient race known for their formidable economy and aggressive tactics, had long been a dominant force. They had mastered resource production and military logistics, making them a fearsome adversary. The rise of humanity. As humanity began to explore beyond their home planet, they quickly learned about these pillars. They understood that they were at a disadvantage. Their economy was still developing, their technology was rudimentary compared to others, and they lacked experience in interstellar warfare. Yet what they possessed was an indomitable spirit, a willingness to innovate and adapt. The Terran Federation was formed as a coalition of Earth nations united under a common goal: to navigate the complexities of galactic politics while ensuring humanity's survival. They sought allies among other species but faced skepticism at every turn. Many believed humans were easy prey, an untested species ripe for conquest. Tensions rise. As tensions escalated, whispers of war began to circulate throughout the galaxy. The Zax had grown increasingly frustrated with humanity's rapid advancements. They saw humans not just as rivals, but as a threat to their long-standing dominance. In a bold move that shocked many, they declared war on Earth, demanding unconditional surrender from the Terran Federation. The declaration sent shockwaves through the galactic community. While some species rallied behind humanity, others remained indifferent or even supportive of the Zax's aggressive stance. This division highlighted the precarious position humans found themselves in, a mere fledgling among seasoned warriors. The call for mediation. In an effort to avoid bloodshed, a mediation was proposed by the Federation's High Council. This traditional gathering aimed to bring both parties together for dialogue before conflict erupted into full-scale war. It was an opportunity for humanity to showcase its resolve, or so many hoped. As preparations for this mediation commenced, humans took stock of their situation. They were aware that they were perceived as weak, but understood that appearances could be deceiving. Their leaders began strategizing ways to leverage their unique strengths: creativity in problem-solving, adaptability in tactics, and an unwavering resolve. Arrival at the mediation site. The day of mediation arrived with great anticipation. Delegates from various species gathered on a neutral planet chosen for its significance in galactic history, a place where many treaties had been forged and conflicts resolved peacefully. The atmosphere was tense. Representatives from both sides exchanged wary glances as they took their places in the grand dome designed for this momentous occasion. The Terran ambassador stepped forward with an air of determination that surprised many observers. His demeanor was calm yet resolute. He understood that this moment could define humanity's future among the stars. An unexpected stance. As discussions commenced, it became clear that the Zax intended to intimidate rather than negotiate. Their ambassador boasted about their superior economy and military capabilities, flaunting statistics designed to belittle humanity's efforts. Yet when it came time for the human ambassador to respond, he chose his words carefully. "We are aware of your strengths," he stated simply but firmly. This unexpected reticence caught many off guard. It was not what anyone anticipated from a species on the brink of annihilation. The Zax ambassador smirked at this perceived weakness, but pressed on with his demands for surrender, a move intended to provoke fear among humans present in the dome. A moment of reckoning. As tensions escalated during this verbal sparring match, something remarkable began to unfold within humanity's ranks. While others saw despair in their situation, humans saw an opportunity. a chance to demonstrate their resilience against overwhelming odds. The mediation ended without resolution. Both sides stood firm in their positions, yet beneath that surface tension lay a simmering determination among humans, a resolve not just to survive, but to fight back against those who underestimated them. The last mediation. The stage is set. As the sun dipped below the horizon of the neutral planet, casting long shadows across the grand dome where the last mediation would take place, a palpable tension filled the air. Delegates from various species had gathered, each representing their own interests and concerns. The stakes were high. A war loomed on the horizon, and this mediation was humanity's last chance to avert disaster. The Terran ambassador stood resolute, his heart pounding as he prepared to face the Zach representatives. He understood that this meeting was not just about words, but about survival. The Zachs, with their towering physiques and sharp claws, were intimidating figures, embodying the very essence of power and aggression in the galaxy. Yet, despite their fearsome reputation, humanity had something they lacked: an unyielding spirit. Tensions rise. As the delegates took their seats, murmurs filled the dome. Many species had come to witness this historic event, curious to see how humanity would respond to the Zach's demands for unconditional surrender. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. All eyes were on the human delegation. When the High Speaker called for order, silence fell over the assembly. "We gather here today under unfortunate circumstances," he began. "The Zachs have declared war against humanity and demand unconditional surrender. The Terran Federation has not agreed to these terms." The Zach ambassador stepped forward, his voice booming as he addressed the assembly. "You are outmatched. Our economy can produce more ships in a day than your species has in an entire cycle. Surrender now and save your people from unnecessary suffering." A bold response. The human ambassador took a deep breath, feeling the weight of countless lives resting on his shoulders. "We are aware of your capabilities," he replied calmly, refusing to show fear. His words were few but carried a weight that surprised many in attendance. He was not begging for mercy. He was asserting humanity's right to exist. The Zach ambassador's eyes narrowed in response to this unexpected defiance. "Our technology surpasses yours in every conceivable way," he continued, his tone dripping with disdain. "One of our ships can easily take down 10 of your outdated vessels." The human ambassador stood firm, his mind racing as he considered his next words carefully. "Technology is not everything," he countered. "We may be new to this arena, but we have proven time and again that we can adapt and innovate when faced with adversity." The stakes are raised. The tension escalated as both sides exchanged barbs, each trying to assert dominance while maintaining a facade of decorum. Other delegates watched closely, some eager for conflict while others hoped for a peaceful resolution. "Why should we trust you?" demanded the Zach ambassador. "Your kind has only just begun to explore the stars. You lack experience and resources." "Trust is earned through actions," replied the human ambassador confidently. "We have faced challenges on our home planet that would have broken lesser species. We will not go quietly into the night." As discussions continued, it became clear that both sides were entrenched in their positions. The Zachs were determined to crush what they perceived as an insignificant threat, while humanity was equally resolved to fight for its existence. Unexpected allies. Amidst the heated exchange, whispers of support began circulating among some of the other species present at the mediation. They had observed humanity's resilience and ingenuity from afar and were beginning to question whether siding with the Zachs was truly wise. A representative from a smaller species spoke up tentatively. "Perhaps there is another way forward. We have seen how quickly humans adapt and innovate. Surely there must be room for dialogue rather than warfare." His voice broke through the tension like a ray of light piercing through storm clouds. Other delegates nodded in agreement, recognizing that a united front against aggression could benefit all species involved. A moment of clarity. The High Speaker called for order once more as discussions began to shift toward potential alternatives to war. "Let us consider what is at stake," he urged. A war between our two species could lead to devastation, not just for humanity, but for all who inhabit this galaxy. The human ambassador seized this opportunity to speak again. "We do not seek conflict. We seek coexistence," he declared passionately. "But if war is thrust upon us, we will fight, not just for ourselves, but for every species that values freedom and peace." Preparing for war. The aftermath of mediation. The Grand Dome, where the last mediation had taken place, now stood silent, a stark contrast to the heated discussions that had unfolded just hours before. Delegates filed out, their expressions a mix of uncertainty and concern. The human ambassador's bold stance had surprised many, but it had also raised questions about what would come next. The Zax were not known for their patience, and the clock was ticking. Back on Earth, the leaders of the Terran Federation convened in an emergency meeting. They understood that war was no longer a distant threat. It was imminent. The Federation had to prepare for a conflict that could determine humanity's place in the galaxy. Mobilizing resources. As news of the impending war spread, humanity sprang into action. Factories that had once produced consumer goods were quickly repurposed to manufacture weapons and spacecraft. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock to enhance existing technologies and develop new ones. The spirit of innovation that defined humanity was ignited like never before. The Federation called upon its most brilliant minds, engineers, strategists, and military leaders, to devise a plan. They gathered in a massive conference hall, where holographic displays showcased the latest designs for warships and weaponry. "Time is against us," General Adams stated firmly. "We need to focus on our strengths, our ability to adapt and innovate. We may not have the resources of the Zax, but we can outthink them." Forming alliances. Recognizing the need for allies, the Federation reached out to other species within the galactic community. Some were hesitant. They feared retribution from the Zax. Others were intrigued by humanity's potential and offered their support. A representative from the Kylorians, a species known for their advanced technology, expressed interest in forming an alliance. "We have watched you from afar," she said, her voice steady. "Your resilience is admirable. We believe that together we can stand against the Zax." The Terran leaders welcomed this support, understanding that unity was crucial in facing a common enemy. They began to forge alliances with other species who shared their desire for peace and stability in the galaxy. Training the forces. With resources mobilized and alliances formed, it was time to prepare their forces for battle. Training camps were established across Earth and its colonies, where soldiers from various species came together to learn from one another. Human soldiers trained alongside Kylorian warriors, sharing tactics and strategies. The Kylorians brought advanced combat techniques, while humans contributed their unique approaches to problem-solving in chaotic situations. As training progressed, camaraderie blossomed among the diverse forces. They shared stories of their homes, their cultures, and their hopes for a peaceful future. This bond strengthened their resolve. They were no longer just fighting for themselves, but for each other. The Zax threat. Meanwhile, on Zax Prime, the ruling council convened to discuss their strategy against humanity. They were confident in their superiority, but recognized that underestimating humans could be a grave mistake. "Let us not forget," one council member cautioned, "that they have shown remarkable ingenuity in their short time among the stars. We must crush them swiftly to avoid any chance of them rallying allies." The council agreed on a multi-pronged approach. They would launch an initial strike against human colonies while simultaneously deploying propaganda to sow discord among potential allies. The first strike. As preparations reached their climax, intelligence reports indicated that the Zax were mobilizing their fleets for an attack on human colonies near Earth. The Federation's leaders gathered once more to discuss their response. "We must act quickly," General Adams urged. "If we allow them to strike first without a proper defense, we risk losing everything." They devised a plan to intercept the Zax fleet before it could reach its target. Human ships would be deployed alongside their allies' vessels to create a united front against the impending assault. A race against time. In the days leading up to the battle, tension filled the air as soldiers prepared for what could be a defining moment in human history. Families gathered in makeshift shelters as news of impending conflict spread through Earth's media channels. The Federation organized briefings to keep citizens informed about what lay ahead. "We are not alone," leaders reassured them. "We stand united with our allies against tyranny." Despite these reassurances, fear lingered in many hearts. People wondered if humanity was truly ready for war against such an ancient and powerful species as the Zax. The night before battle. As night fell over Earth, soldiers gathered for one last briefing before deployment. In a large auditorium filled with representatives from various species, General Adams addressed them all. "Tomorrow we face an enemy that believes we are weak," he began passionately. "But we know our strength lies not just in our technology or numbers, but in our spirit. We fight not just for ourselves, but for every being who values freedom." His words ignited a fire within those present. Cheers erupted throughout the auditorium as soldiers prepared themselves mentally for what lay ahead. Conclusion. A new dawn approaches. With dawn approaching and battle looming on the horizon, humanity stood at a crossroads, a moment that would define its future among the stars. They had faced adversity before, but never on such a grand scale. As ships prepared for launch and soldiers took their positions, one thing became clear. Humanity would fight with everything they had, not just to survive, but to prove that they belonged among the stars. The stage was set for conflict. History awaited its next chapter as both sides braced themselves for what would soon unfold, a battle that would echo through time and space long after it was over. The first skirmish. The calm before the storm. As dawn broke over Earth, a tense stillness enveloped the planet. Soldiers from various species prepared for what many feared could be the defining moment of their existence. The Federation had mobilized its fleet, and the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Each soldier understood that they were not just fighting for their own survival, but for the future of all sentient beings in the galaxy. In the command center, General Adams reviewed the final battle plans with his officers. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing images of both human and allied ships ready for deployment. The general's voice was steady, but beneath it lay an undercurrent of urgency. "We have trained hard for this moment. We know our enemy, and we know our strengths. We will not falter." The fleet assembles. As ships lined up in formation, the sight was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. The Federation fleet consisted of a mix of human vessels and those from their allies, each displaying unique designs and capabilities. Kylorian ships shimmered with advanced technology, while human vessels bore the marks of ingenuity and resilience. The atmosphere was electric as soldiers took their positions on board their respective ships. Many exchanged nervous glances, but there was also a sense of camaraderie that had developed during training. They were no longer just individuals from different species. They were a united force ready to face the unknown. The Zax fleet approaches. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, the Zax fleet surged forward, a formidable sight with their massive warships gliding through the void. Their ships were designed for intimidation, bulky and equipped with powerful weaponry that had struck fear into many hearts across the galaxy. The Zax commanders were confident. They believed that humanity would crumble under pressure. They had underestimated the resolve of a species that had faced countless challenges throughout its history. As they approached Earth, they prepared to unleash their might. The first encounter. The moment of confrontation arrived, as both fleets spotted each other in the vastness of space. Alarms blared on both sides as commanders issued orders to prepare for battle. General Adams stood at the helm of his flagship, his heart racing as he surveyed his crew. "Maintain formation," he shouted over the din. "We will show them what we're made of." As weapon systems powered up and shields activated, tension hung thick in the air. The first shots rang out, a cacophony of explosions and energy beams illuminating the dark expanse between the two fleets. Initial setbacks. The battle began with chaos. Ships maneuvered to avoid incoming fire while returning fire in kind. Humanity's forces quickly realized that their initial tactics were not enough to counteract the overwhelming firepower of the Zax. "Focus on dodging," shouted Lieutenant Jenna, her voice cutting through the noise as she piloted her ship through a hailstorm of energy blasts. "We need to find an opening." Despite their best efforts, several human vessels fell under relentless assault from Zax warships. The loss was devastating, not just in terms of resources, but also in morale. Soldiers aboard those ships had families and dreams. They fought not just for themselves, but for loved ones back home. A turning point. Just when it seemed that despair would take hold, a flicker of hope emerged from an unexpected source. A Kylorian ship, known for its advanced technology, executed a daring maneuver that caught Zax forces off guard. "Now!" roared Captain Lyra from her command seat as she activated her ship's cloaking device and repositioned it behind enemy lines. With precision timing, she unleashed a barrage of missiles that struck true against a Zax cruiser. The explosion lit up space like fireworks on a summer night, and cheers erupted across the Federation fleet. This act of bravery inspired others. Soldiers began to rally together, finding strength in unity. Human ingenuity shines. As more Allied ships joined forces to exploit weaknesses in the Zax formation, humanity's ingenuity began to shine through in unexpected ways. Engineers had been working tirelessly on new tactics based on their understanding of Zax technology. "Deploy EMP charges," General Adams commanded as he observed enemy movements through strategic holographic displays. "Let's disable their systems." With coordinated efforts from multiple ships, EMP charges were launched toward key targets within the Zax fleet. The resulting disruption caused chaos among Zax ranks as systems failed and communication lines went dark. Regaining control. With newfound momentum on their side, humanity's forces pressed forward with renewed vigor. They fought not only for survival, but also for recognition, a chance to prove that they were more than just newcomers in a vast galaxy. "Push forward," shouted Lieutenant Jenna as she led her squadron into battle once more. "We can turn this around." As energy beams crisscrossed through space and explosions rocked enemy vessels, humanity's determination became evident. They were no longer seen as easy prey. They were fierce warriors willing to fight against overwhelming odds. The aftermath. As the battle raged on, it became clear that both sides would suffer losses before any resolution could be reached. But amidst this turmoil lay an undeniable truth. Humanity had proven its mettle in combat. When the dust settled and silence fell over the battlefield, both fleets withdrew to assess their damages and regroup for future encounters. Though neither side claimed complete victory that day, humanity had taken its first steps toward establishing itself as a formidable force within the galaxy. Conclusion. A new resolve. As soldiers returned to their ships battered but unbroken, General Adams gathered his commanders for a debriefing session. "Today was only the beginning," he stated firmly. "We have shown them our strength and resilience." His words resonated deeply within those present. They understood that this conflict would be long and arduous, but also transformative. Humanity had faced its first challenge head-on and emerged stronger than before. With renewed determination burning in their hearts, humanity prepared itself for what lay ahead. A series of battles that would test not only their physical strength, but also their spirit and ingenuity in ways they could never have imagined. The stage was set for an epic struggle against an ancient adversary, a struggle that would ultimately define humanity's place among the stars and prove once and for all that they were not so easily defeated after all.